so I've taken a few minutes, tidied up everything under the dash. See if I can get you down in here a little better. Put my panel back up in there where for the Dakota Digital stuff. Got that secured to the firewall. Tidied up all my wires. Now I've got to run a couple of ducts out to those, to the two AC ports that are on the side of the dash there. So I'm going to run those next, and then I will just continue installing the rest of the vintage air stuff. I think that just seems like the logical choice to do at this point. So yeah, that's looking pretty decent. There we go, get in there, that's better. Yeah, tightening up the best I can. And I was able to actually slip the extra service loop for the Dakota Digital panel in behind the AC unit. So that worked out really nice. Yeah, so that's next. I'm going to start working on the ductwork. Okay, so I got the AC ductwork in, and then I threw the radio up in after. It was really difficult to try to film any of that, so apologize if you were hoping to see that. But radio's crammed in there. This is a retro sound radio. I haven't finished setting it up yet, but it's supposed to look like the original radio, but it's got Bluetooth and everything else, and you can do hands-free calling through it and all the stuff you need in today's world. Today I'm just going to work on wrapping up this dash. First going to start with getting the glove box finished up, getting the pan in there for that. Just try to get that all summed up and out of the way. And the ashtray, and then I'll come over here, finish the cover on the steering column on the bottom, and then probably the steering wheel would be next. But we will see. I've also got to wrap up some of the wires that are not cleaned up from the radio install. It's really tight under there with all that tubing and stuff. That ductwork is kind of miserable, and like that one there, it's like the only place you can run it. I don't know how else to route that over, because there's certainly not enough length to go up and over, and I don't even know how you'd get it up on this section. So yeah, it's kind of a strange look, but you know, at the end of the day, if it works, it works. So yeah, gonna keep moving on this and just try to get this part wrapped up and see what we get. Okay, that's pretty much it for the dash. Got the steering wheel on and the underwheel cover on. Ashtrays in. Fought with that a little bit, and the glove box, the Vintage Air glove box insert was a bit of a challenge. The only thing I got left to do on the glove box is I'm missing the striker plate for the latch, so I've got to get one of those. But other than that, this is looking good. Starting to look real. Anyway, so yeah, I'm gonna move on and do a couple of other things here. One thing I got going on that I just did a little research on is this. I got some rear end grease coming out of this axle tube. Now these have a seal that's built into like the bearing, and you have to compress the bearing to get it to seal. I don't know if that's just not right or what, but I'm going to get it jacked up and figure that out, clean that all up, see where I'm at. Okay, you gotta love a Ford 9-inch. I literally have this axle out in 8 minutes. Okay, so the way this works is this is the bearing, and it has a crush seal on the face of it, and as the plate tightens up on that seal, it expands out into the bore that you see in there. So I've pulled it out. I don't think it was quite tightened and torqued properly because it didn't feel like 35 pounds on each one. So I'm going to put that back in, carefully cross torque it, and hopefully that'll take care of this drip that I've got going on here. I mean, obviously I overfilled it a little bit because the rear end was a little tilted down, but hey, it showed me the problem. So I'll put this back together and see what we got. Okay, that's all torqued up. Got the brake rotor back on. Yeah, I'm hoping that's all this was. I got to clean up this mess, and we'll just keep an eye on it. If the puddle grows and we know we didn't get it all. So we'll see. I think I got it. It seemed to torque really nice. Everything seemed fine, so we'll see. All right, so I've cleaned this out finally. I had to take a minute and hoe the shop, put some tools away. I couldn't find nothing. So a few things I got to do now. I've got to get the lower shift boot in. I've got this big one here. It fits actually pretty good. So you got to have a boot between this and the console, and then there'll be another boot on top of that. So there's 3 boots. There's one that seals the transmission, then one that seals the tunnel, and then the one that the decorative one that sits on top of the center console. So that one does work. I have to roll the edges a little bit. No big deal. I'll get that put in probably tomorrow. And I've got to work out the brackets for the seats. So I'm going to probably do that in a separate video, but that's probably what I'm going to do next is I got to design some special brackets. The seats that I have sliders, but they do not have like mounts to mount it to the floor. So you have to put a bracket on to get it to the floor, and then blah, blah, blah. So, so I got to build a custom bracket, which is good, you know. I'm not a short guy, so I want to make this thing so that it's comfortable to ride in. Probably won't be anybody in the back seat, but hey, you know, if they want to ride back there, they got to pay the price. So, you know, knees and chin, that's it. Anyway, I got to vacuum this out. There's still a lot of paint chips and stuff from the masking, but it's all cleaned up now. Everything looks pretty good. I do have the brake light, emergency brake light stuck on. I'm not sure why. So it could either be the proportioning valve or there's some other short in it. I got to figure that out at some point here. But I didn't notice it until I had everything back together, so not good. Anyway, I got to figure that out. What else? Yeah, that's about it for right now. I'm going to start concentrating on getting the seats mounted. Then I can properly test the brakes, the clutch, everything else. I did get the other hose to replace the small steam vent hose that's leaking up front. I had taken modify one and replaced the end because I didn't have the proper length, and well, it didn't seal up, so is what it is. So yeah, I'm gonna probably break this video here, start working on another one for the seat brackets, because I'm gonna kind of explain how I do that and how I go through it. I've taken the measurements of the mounting points here on the floor. I've got to go down and do the same thing now for the mounting points for the bottom of the seat. So we'll figure it out. It shouldn't be too awful difficult, but you know, you never know. So anyway, we'll carry on.